Hex, I'm just catching up on the news. That serial killer has escaped.
You mean the raincoat killer?
Yeah, the one that wears a raincoat. Shut the door, Hex!
I'm trying!
Why is it lightning inside the studio?
Welcome to Good Game, I'm Hex.
And I'm Bajo.
We have some seriously scary games in this week's episode, Bajo.
That's right, Hex. I've got my brown pants at the ready. First, from the creators of Limbo, we have the twisted world of Inside.
That is a game that is guaranteed to give you weird dreams. But if that's not enough to totally creep you out, we also play the multiplayer slasher Dead by Daylight.
Run, that person. Other person.
I hate running knowing
Now we had a good time, didn't we, Hex? Ah! What's going on with the lights? Is it the raincoat killer? The killer in a raincoat?
I'm sure everything will be fine, Bajo. Everything will be fine. Let's just get on with the show.
Can you name the game for this week? Pooped my pants.
Horror games can be atmospheric and truly terrifying at times. But an AI creature, no matter how fearsome, can always be outsmarted.
So what happens when you put a human mind inside the body of a killer? You'll be dead by daylight, that's what.
Yeah, hey gang.
Shut up.
It's LB or Radby.
Good to know now. No, wrong one, wrong trigger. What the
See him running around. Another pig for the slaughter.
No.
I want to live! I want to live! Dead by Daylight is an asymmetrical multiplayer survival horror game for PC. It's one killer versus 5 survivors. The survivors need to try and escape, while the murderer needs to catch them and sacrifice their souls to its pointy, tentacle demon god thing.
Survivors focus on stealth. They must, as quietly as possible, start a number of generators before their exit can be revealed, and then they have to leg it.
Oh my god, I'm going for it. I'm not risking it.
Is everyone out?
Yep.
Yay.
Yay.
Hex.
So alone. So alone.
But also legging it is the murderer, who is always watching for their mistakes and occasionally catching them by surprise.
Hi. I'm not scared of this yet because I haven't really run into you.
Why did you hide in the cupboard?
Take it all back.
If you played the game Evolve, then it's like that, except you've got no weapons.
Gotcha.
And you get hung up on meat hooks.
Wait, don't hook me, don't hook me. Oh, I'm hooked. Gross.
You know, Bajo, as gamers, we digitally dispatch our friends on a regular basis, but when framed in a slasher theme like this, we saw a different side of each other, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't mind the gore and dark themes of this game, there's some fascinating mechanics at play.
You know, I was surprised by just how much this game put you in the mindset of either a survivor or, you know, a murderer.
Yeah, you really start playing to your role, don't you?
For sure, and I think a lot of that is encouraged by that creepy sound design. Let's start with the survivor.
Hex, can you see him? No.
Hiding in fear of the killer always feels tense.
Could before.
Your goal is the generators, so creeping up to them is your first objective. But turning them on isn't easy, it takes time, especially when you're on your own. Working in pairs or as a team, though, will get them going faster.
But powering up those generators is super stressful because there's this random minigame that's really punishing. If you fail, it makes a very loud sound, which the killer can hear and see as this bubble on the screen. The killer can see sound. You're in the killer's world and it speaks to him.
Oh, it's so frustrating. I always messed up the minigame. And then you never know whether to stay or to go. Like, should you just hide in that area or just leg it somewhere else, but then they might see you? Ah!
Yeah, plus you have to be so focused on that minigame because it's so quick. You can't really take in what's around you and look for the killer.
This generator. I'm giving up.
The only tell that the killer is actually near is your heartbeat sound, which gets louder and louder as he approaches. And when he finds you, the chase is on and that music kicks in. Oh!
Yes, now from here there are a few options available to you as the survivor. Break line of sight and duck down, just hoping the killer passes you by. Or jump through windows or knock down pallets to try and slow them down. Or maybe just try and hide in a cupboard and hope it all goes away.
I'm not in the cupboard. I am not in the cupboard.
Who's dead in the cupboard?
The cupboard hardly ever works, but I can't resist it, Hex.
Yeah, it's so exciting when it does, though.
You'll never find me, Goose.
I think my favorite mechanic in the whole game is that sprinting trail. When you sprint, you leave these kind of demonic scratches all along the ground and walls, which only the killer can see.
Behind you guys!
Hi, gang.
I love this too, and it works so well in the gameplay. When you're a killer, you're always in first person, so you can't see as much around you. And it's surprisingly easy to lose your target, so you rely on this weird scratchy trail to help.
Okay, I've kind of lost you now.
As a survivor, if you're caught, though, all is not necessarily lost. You can wiggle and try and get free. If not, though, it's hook time.
Almost time. There we go.
No! Oh!
But the layers of strategy to this little game don't end there. You can choose to try and escape at the cost of your health, or wait it out, hoping a survivor can get you off the hook, which is actually very quick and easy to do and can be done right under the killer's nose. As a survivor, seeing your friend on a hook, there's all these interesting decisions you have to make. Do you save them, getting them off the hook literally, but also risking yourself?
Now, saving Hex is a good idea.
Run, run!
Except I'm right here. I never.
But then having more support for powering up those generators? Or do you just focus solely on the generators yourself? Or do you distract the killer so someone else can try and free them? There's so much going on.
Yeah. There are 3 killers to choose from, and they're all horrifying. There is, of course, the hillbilly, a classic chainsaw maniac who can do a deadly charge. The wraith rings a creepy bell to go in and out of stealth, hiding the survivor heartbeat sounds. And Chuckles, who lays nasty bear traps.
Hey guys, he put a trap in front of me.
Oh, did I?
There's lots to think about as the killer, too. Your field of view is much smaller, and you can't see as far as the survivors. Often you have to rely on survivors messing up before you can really start a hunt.
Oh.
You guys have a bit of trouble with that generator, are you?
I don't even know which one it is.
Generator.
And you really do have to think like a hunter, too, because you're hunting the most dangerous prey of all, man.
And man likes to mess with you as well. I could always spot the pro players because they just keep me busy hooking them all, and then before I knew it, they're all out the bloody exit.
You're particularly scary as the killer, Bajo. I think you enjoy the roleplay element too much.
No! Coming to
over
me again. La 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 la.
I think you'll find you're the scariest, Hex, because you just talk normally. That's terrifying.
Just go about my business.
Where are you? Find you. Hello.
I'll put it out there. Steph, you're creepier than Bajo with that voice.
I liked playing the killer as much as the survivors, and that's always a real accomplishment in these kind of asymmetrical multiplayer games.
Yeah, I think they've really thought about how to balance this game. Things like giving the survivors third-person view so that they can see more and look around corners. You know, at first all the survivor actions just felt really slow and unnecessarily punishing to me, but the more I played it, the more I realized that was necessary design to even it all out.
Yeah, and there's some really nice touches on the killer actions as well. So many of them force the killers to look down and away from who they're chasing. Like when you're recovering from a survivor who's wiggled out of your grip, or smashing knocked over pallets. The presentation overall is a bit rough, and the party system at the moment won't let you group with friends and then just fill in extra spots with randoms online. Apparently that is changing, but right now, if you want to play this with friends, 4 or 5 of them are going to need to have a copy of the game.
I also just think it needs more maps, Bajo. I mean, there's so many great horror settings to choose from. Where's my abandoned insane asylum? Right now, there's really only just creepy field and creepy cornfield.
I do like what is there though. There's lots of cool places to hide.
Yeah, and I do like that you can see through cracks in buildings. It just adds to that horror vibe. This is a unique experience. There's nothing else out there quite like it, is there?
No, there isn't. And I like the dark teamwork friendship ideas it plays with. Essentially, you know, you're there to work together, but you're also out for yourself.
There's a door here, and I'm just gonna go out of it.
Probably the best idea.
I didn't realize that was an option for me, but this is the first escape, and I'm just gonna take it. And you know what that means? Chicken leg.
I read online that this game brings out the best and the worst in people, and I think that's quite true.
Hex, I'm so sorry. I watched him drag your body away. I did nothing.
What kind of friend are you?
I'm going to give this 3.5 out of 5 stars. If they fix that party system, I would say this is almost a must-play just for the experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think it needs a bit more polish and a bit more content. We had a lot of fun with this, but this is also the kind of game that has a very short shelf life, so I'm giving it 2.5.
This week, I want to talk about padding, and in my opinion, how much better games are without it. Now, the irony of padding out the show by harping on about padding is not entirely lost on me, but stick with me here, this is going somewhere.
No, it isn't?
Padding basically serves the simple purpose of making games longer. Not more fun or interesting, just longer. It's the repetitive puzzles, fetch quests, grinding levels, collectathon achievements, irritating escort missions, annoying minigames, overlong tutorials. The ways a game can be padded out are endless. Now, largely, I think we only have ourselves to blame. Look at any chat with a developer about their upcoming game, and you can bet good money someone will ask the age-old question, how many hours does it take to finish? As if it's the most universally important fact about a game. But they ask the question because gamers care about it. We have an innate desire for bigger, better games that promise excellent money to game length ratios, and that's totally understandable. Who doesn't want a chunky game that we can just sink our teeth into for months on end?
You can just hang outside in the sun all day tossing a ball around, or you can sit at your computer and do something that matters.
The problem is, very few games out there can pull it off. You've got a handful of games in each generation that can, and I'm talking GTA, Diablo, Civ, Minecraft, games that manage to create huge, interesting experiences, but they don't feel padded out. These are the masterpieces of game design that have taken years to craft and give us interesting characters, well-written stories, inventive missions, even entire fleshed out games within that game. But more often than not, games just tend to be padded out with filler, bonus content, pointless chivos, and it's just not necessary.
One trick is to tell them stories that don't go anywhere.
My eyes glaze over when I see a map speckled with dull side missions. I huff with frustration when I pick up 1 of 300 collectible feathers. And my eye twitches with aggravation the 15th time I have to fiddle with the same bloody minigame or damn lockpick and it just breaks and I just open the f***ing chest. Thankfully, I feel like we're starting to see a sea change towards games that just get to the point and they trim all the fat. Something like Firewatch, a game that focuses purely on exploring, both out in the wilderness and within the heart and the mind of the protagonist.
There are 2 naked ladies out here.
Can you handle that?
Something like Overwatch, that knows it's just going to offer a class-based team shooter, and it does it with such style that you barely even question the lack of a campaign or game modes. Something like the award-winning Journey, a streamlined, heart-wrenching experience that's almost impossible to put down, which is perfectly complemented by the fact that it can be finished in one sitting. And of course, this week's Inside, a beautifully structured game that's constantly introducing clever new ideas before just throwing them away and moving on to the next one. And then it finishes well before it can ever be accused of outstaying its welcome. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we should only have 3-hour indie games or well-designed team-based shooters. I just want games that know what they're trying to be, and they just own that. Don't muck me around with hours of faff just for the sake of creating content. It's filler and we can see straight through it. So whether it's story exposition, character development, extra features or bonus side quests, often less is more. And I want more of that, please. But that's just my opinion. Perhaps you enjoy spending hours doing mindless, busy work or becoming the world's best lockpicker. Let us know your opinions on social media, and Nick and I will discuss it on tomorrow's episode of Pocket.
You know, Hex, 5 or 6 years ago, if a game was less than 8 hours, we'd get so upset.
It's true. And I guess that comes from a place of people wanting to know that if they're going to pay a certain price for something, they'd get a certain amount of game out of it, whereas now we're more focused on quality over quantity, I think.
Absolutely, and there's so many games now. Personally, I'm just happy if I can finish anything. Now here's someone who's not going to finish anything. It's NichBoy with the first play.
Lost Sea is a new game from East Asia Soft Limited. It is a procedurally generated action-adventure game where you are in the Bermuda Triangle, trapped on a mysterious island. You need to survive and hopefully make your way off. Let's take a look. Hey, it's me. Oh no, that's me. That's definitely me. Last thing I remember was flying into that storm. Coins! There's rope here. Can I take the rope? No. I mean, I would grab rope straight away. Rope seems like one of the most important things I could get. You could do so many things with rope. Make a very thin hammock, sex stuff. There's a key! You know what would come in handy now? Rope. Build me a bridge. Build me a bridge! That's it, good. Good. Don't know where you were hiding those planks, but good. We're in. Oh! Who are these guys? Oh god, oh god, oh god. He's a maniac, maniac in the forest floor. If you're defeated, any upgrades and progress made during the adventure will be lost. I was not informed this was a roguelike. Okay, so I just spent 45 minutes with Lost Sea, and it's not great. I don't really like judging games on what they aren't, but here I just feel like there's a really big missed opportunity. There's this cool premise where you are trapped on this island in the Bermuda Triangle, so it's all weird stuff going on. You gotta survive here and try to get out. But there's no real survival element to any of this game. It really is just this sort of like slash hack, work your way through an area, find these tablets, go back and get an upgrade. And while upgrades are important in roguelikes, the thing that makes them cool is that it makes your run different from the one before it. So every time you do something in a roguelike and you get a new ability or you get a new item, it should be adding on top of one another to be able to make your experience in that playthrough vastly different than the last one and the next one. Whereas here, everything just felt the same. The area always looked the same, and while I'm not all the way through the game, 45 minutes into the game, I do feel like I should see something other than just that one jungle style environment. The enemies were the same on all the islands, and the mechanics that I only had slash. Eventually I upgraded this sort of dash sprint ability, but that's it. And it didn't really help other than just moving through the area a little bit faster. And it also means that with the kind of upgrades they had, there wasn't cool things that would combine to create new effects or new abilities. It was just, do you want a bigger backpack? Do you want to get a new crewmate? And these are things which you can just easily min-max, where I go, no, I don't really want a backpack. What I want is a crewmate to carry the thing that I would put in a backpack anyway. Because these crewmates, they don't seem to fight, at least not yet. Again, a significant chunk of time into the game. They're not having any sort of like brawls or anything. They can protect me by running in front of bullets. But is that what you want for your crewmates? No, I don't think so. Oh God, and he's nearly dead! Take one for the team, buddy! Oh, I'm so sorry. I will avenge you. I feel like it started on the right foot. You wake up, you're not wearing any clothes, you're on this sort of cool looking island. The art style is, you know, kind of cute. And then you meet this strange man, and this strange man has all these things that he says to you about how he's so strange, how the island is really strange, and he's gonna sell you a bunch of stuff. Then he just tricks you into becoming an employee for him. And so that's a really good setup where I go, oh cool, okay, there's gonna be all this mystery here. I'm gonna gather all these things and develop some sort of own personalized ship or, you know, area where I live. But then you move on to the next island and everything's the same except that cool guy isn't there. He's just in the corner and he's not saying anything new to you. You meet these other people and they're not talking to you. No one talks to one another. We don't have a conversation. I let those people die by bullets or they're constantly getting hit by my sword, and we've never actually introduced ourselves properly. One of the key things to roguelikes is the idea that you make it your own, and that's why I love a game like Don't Starve, where every time I play that game, I'm excited about what kind of base I'm gonna build. I'm gonna get all these new abilities and all these new machines and all this new equipment, and then the whole island is going to conspire against me to try to take it from me. Here, there's nothing that I've made my own. I don't even see the ship that I'm constantly putting upgrades on. It's just this little icon on the map that goes from island to island, and that's it. And then it seems like I land in an island, and it's exactly the same as the last one. It just has 3 tablets that I've yet to collect. It just feels like the game is lacking in 3 big areas. 1, personality. 2, mechanics and depth of gameplay. And 3, just a general sense of fun. So that's my first play of Lost Sea. Will there be a second play? No, there won't be. But there will be a 1000th play of Don't Starve. Do we have that installed here?
One of the most affecting indie puzzle experiences I've had to date was Playdead Studios' Limbo from 2010, a shadowy game about a small boy trapped in a nightmarish realm after death. Now Playdead brings us a new offering, a kind of spiritual successor with Inside.
This is such a stunning game to look at, Hex. The art design, the detail, the way the camera frames the scene, I just love soaking it all in. And straight away you can see the callbacks to Limbo from the very moment you enter this game.
Yeah, there's a definite sense of deja vu. Young boy dropped into a shadowy forest, no explanation, same eerie silence. Those references to Limbo instantly make you feel like you're in familiar territory, even if you have no idea of where you are or how you got there.
But as the world opens up, you quickly realize this is a very different place to Limbo, although still shockingly brutal. There are themes of some kind of oppressive force, sinister experimentation, and strange sci-fi concepts. Hex, I love the way they so quickly create an air of mystery.
Yeah, you immediately have so many questions about this world, although don't expect any of them to be answered. Playdead aren't in the habit of telling you anything about the controls, about the world, about any sense of meaning behind it all. You're just left to fend for yourself while you try and muddle together your own interpretation based on the disturbing images you're faced with.
Disturbing is right. I think at one point I pulled a slug out of a pig's butt and I thought, this isn't going to be your average run-of-the-mill puzzler.
Oh, that poor pig. Well, let's talk about the puzzles because I thought they were fantastic, but I have heard some say that they maybe weren't tricky enough.
Yeah, I can understand that, but I think sometimes you need to applaud puzzle design for being surprising and clever as opposed to just brain-meltingly hard. Because ultimately, that's what you're looking for, those moments of surprise. I love them, but I also think, yes, they probably could have taken it a little further.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of moments where I was stumped for maybe a few minutes. But Inside is so consistent with its design that it can't ever be because you've missed something silly or haven't done things in the right order. The solution will always make sense. You maybe just need to try things in a different way, and I love the way this game made me think.
Yeah, there's such a great sense of discovery in the puzzle solving, because like you say, you never taught the controls. So when I found myself in this submarine thing, it was just a case of trying new buttons to see what worked. And that was so wonderful. Plus the care that's gone into those reactive animations of the boy. And the movement of the creatures and other characters. It all feels perfect.
Yeah, and again, you instantly align yourself with this character because he is so young in a world that is terrifying and brutal. You're driven by a sense of not only wanting to solve the puzzles, but a desperate desire to somehow find freedom from this horrible place.
Definitely, and there are such terrors. The other humans, savage dogs, strange underwater drowners. Not to mention you're surrounded by this world of dark scientific experimentation. And that's a fate that you'd rather not face.
These were my favourite puzzles to solve, Bajo, where you have to find and gather your own little army of brainless citizens.
That first moment where you realize that you have that power was so alarming, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. But then once you make use of that technology yourself, it becomes eerily exciting. I was so intrigued by the story they were telling here. I was mesmerized by it. This is a game that made me feel wonderfully curious, sad, terrified, but most of all, profoundly uncomfortable.
Yes, and we better not say anything else or we enter spoiler territory, Hex. But what did you think overall?
I loved it. I mean, I've been telling all my friends to play it and then relishing in the discussions we have afterwards, just trying to understand what it all meant. You know, Limbo was something that was really strange and new. And to me, this is such a natural and sophisticated evolution of those ideas set in an even more interesting and intriguing landscape. I'm giving it 5 out of 5.
I love this too, Hex, especially the clean, beautiful design of those puzzles. I do think some might be miffed by that ambiguous ending, but I still liked it. I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5 stars. So did you name the game for this week? It was Ghostbusters Sanctum of Slime for the PC, PS3 and Xbox 360. In this top-down action-adventure, a new team of Ghostbusters head out to stop the resurrection of Doomazoo, the Destroyer, which of course involves shooting proton streams all over the joint. And it's unnamed the game because it was developed by Behavior Interactive, the same team behind this week's Dead by Daylight.
Next week on the show, we take a look at the gaming phenomenon that is Pokemon Go. We'll also go diving for adventure in Song of the Deep.
Plus, we see what happens when you've only got seconds to decide your fate in Zero Time Dilemma.
Interesting.
The lives of you, me, and the human race hang in the balance.
Don't forget you can catch NichBoy and all of your gaming news on Pocket each day of the working week on iView and YouTube. But that's all the time we have for this week. Until next time, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Bajo out.
Hi guys. It's raining outside. I thought you could use some umbrellas.
Oh, thanks, Goose. We were worried you might be the raincoat killer.
Why? Because I'm in a raincoat?
Well,
that's just silly.
yeah.
Goose out.
Good noise.
Let's find you a good home.
Oh my god, we've given the psychopath the name. This is a bad idea.
Don't put me on the hook, don't put me on the hook.